Sit back, relax, pop some popcorn, and watch the show. The left is absolutely becoming a meme of themselves. There is so much good content over at CNN right now, it's hard to know where to start. I know that a lot of people are probably scratching their head saying, wait a minute, you're saying we should watch CNN? Guys, it is hilarious. It is almost more entertaining than anything you could find on Netflix or Hulu. So in today's video, I'm going to try to cover some of that for you. Two stories specifically. Now, particularly up east, the people who have liked to point the finger at Florida, they've done some very odd things you wouldn't expect from liberals. Things that if conservatives, Republicans, or Florida man, quote unquote, had done, it would be all over the front page and everybody would know about it. But of course, they're tamping it down and they're hiding it. Now, what am I talking about? Well, there was a story. Oh, gosh darn it. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I was watching some Futurama and I had these pictures up and I totally forgot to take them down. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find the right tabs. Oh, here we go. All right. So there is this congresswoman in Massachusetts. Her name is Lori Trahan. And there's this little blurb about her having contracted COVID-19. Now, of course, we pray for her. We hope she recovers. We don't wish anything bad on Lori Trahan at all. Here's her statement. After repeatedly testing negative for COVID-19, I learned moments ago that I have tested positive for the virus. I am fortunate to be asymptomatic and have immediately begun to self-quarantine. Our team will continue to work fully remote and remains a resource to #MA3 residents. Let's see here. She's going to take advantage of the voting by proxy system. So you wouldn't think this is any real big story, right? It's like, okay, well, things like this happen. Well, I want you to look very closely at the picture on the right of Lori Trahan. Now I want you to look very closely at the picture on the left of Lori Trahan from when she was running for Congress. She is standing next to her husband in both pictures. The same man. Anybody notice anything strange? Let me see if I can zoom this in real quick. Hold on. Anybody notice anything strange? In her campaign official photo, she has cut off about 6 to 8 inches. Either that or she grew 6 to 8 inches after she was elected to Congress, one of the two. If a Republican conservative woman had done this, everybody would know about it. What she was trying to do in this picture is make herself seem like she's not 6 feet tall. Now, why should that be a problem? Why should that be an issue? Everybody else in the photo on the left is at their normal standard height. I've looked up other pictures and confirmed that they didn't extend their height. They just shrunk her. Now imagine if someone on the right had done this. Imagine how they would have been shamed and mocked and said, how dare you do this to this woman? We are all individuals, and we are. Everybody has their strengths, their weaknesses. And I don't know that anyone could really even make the argument that being tall is a weakness for a man or a woman. It's just who we are. And here's another picture on the left to confirm that she's just tall. Why would they be able to get away with doing this? Now, in another story, by the way, we can confirm that they are hiding something. This is from CNN. A vaccination site meant to serve a hard-hit Latino neighborhood in New York instead serviced, quote-unquote, more whites from other areas. More whites from other areas. Let's read what CNN has to say here. A COVID-19 vaccination site in a Latino neighborhood in New York City, hard hit by the pandemic, saw an overwhelming number of white people from outside the community show up to get the shot this month. Which is why I use this picture. Leaders say, laying bare a national disparity that shows a national disparity? Wait a minute. We're talking about New York City. This is not a national disparity. The people of color are being vaccinated at dramatically lower rates. The site at Armory Track and Field Center in Washington Heights was launched January 14th by New York Presbyterian Hospital and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Vaccine appointments were initially offered to people age 65 and older who live in New York State. Lawmakers who represent Washington Heights and a doctor who staffed the site last week said the first wave of vaccinations went to many white New Yorkers over 65 who traveled to the Armory from other parts of the city and state. The more I learn about this, the angrier I get, de Blasio said, blah, 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 blah. Folks who live right there in Washington Heights, totally backward. But wait a minute. Hold on. Listen to this carefully. I'm going to read this because it outlines something about Florida. This is a quote from Mayor de Blasio. The more I learn about this, the angrier I get. Somehow, instead of focusing on the Latino community of Washington Heights, a place that really was hard hit by COVID, instead the approach was somehow conducive to folks from outside the community coming and getting vaccinated, but not folks who live right there in Washington Heights, totally backward. Now, here's the problem. So they set up the thing in Washington Heights, right? So if they had a first come, first serve policy, like in Florida, very likely more Latinos would have gotten vaccinated. Why? Because they live closer. Because they went with an appointment setting system. It was who can call faster, who has more of an opportunity to sit on the phone and try to call or get online and the website and make appointments, who has faster internet, who has the ability to do that. Well, in the Latino community, probably got a lot of households with people working 2 jobs. So they got to get up. They don't have time to sit on the computer all day. So if it was a first come, first serve thing, like they have demonized in Florida, by the way, that was the whole point when DeSantis had his little argument with the girl from CNN, is that they were showing, pictures of people in line the night before, and people had gone there the night before and set up camp and gotten in line to service that community. And they tried to demonize Governor DeSantis for doing that. They're saying there should be some registration system. Well, look what happens when you do a registration system like in New York. People from not in those communities get vaccinated first. Imagine that. Imagine that. You see, we thought about this, and when I say we, people of Florida, people in charge of Florida, Governor DeSantis, his team, thought about this. Like, wait a minute. If we do just having people call in, we don't necessarily know that those people are really from Florida. And we had a huge problem with this initially. Vaccine tourism. And now you actually have to show proof of residency in Florida to get your vaccine if you are over 65. Maybe if they had had a policy in New York, like we had here, sorry about that, they wouldn't have had this problem. See what happens when you use emotions to make your decision? So clearly, this is the most hilarious thing CNN has reported probably in a week. And it's a travesty, but it shows that they aren't geniuses up there. They don't have the corner on how things should be done. Even Governor DeSantis said, I am not, as a government official, going to tell hospitals how to deliver health care. And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Why would a government tell a hospital the most efficient way of vaccinating people? But that's exactly what happened in New York, and now we see what the result is. So, anyway, I guess I will just leave it there. I'll give you the links. You can read the story so that you know that I wasn't inaccurate in any of my statements. And you can quote unquote fact check if you want to. These are the facts. So pop some popcorn, sit back, continue to watch the show. They are providing some of the best entertainment around. Like, share, subscribe.